At the time of recording this intro, I've just finished off my Sushant Divgikar podcast. It's just some conversations you have in the year where you're like, why haven't we had you on the podcast earlier? Why haven't we spoken earlier? This conversation isn't just about the LGBTQ community or Sushant's story or the story of how he turned into drag queen Rani KoHEnur. This one is about confidence. This one is about overcoming your own self doubt. This one is about overcoming all the insecurities that the world has told you that you should have. If you want to feel fueled up, if you want to feel some positive fire inside your heart, this is the conversation for you. I'm proud of this piece that we've created as a team on the Ranveer show. Remember to follow us on Spotify. We're a Spotify exclusive podcast now. Every episode is available on Spotify 48 hours before it's available anywhere else in the world. And for now, this is one of our flagship episodes of the entire year. Sushant Divgikar, Rani KoHEnur on the Ranveer show. Sushant Divgikar.
Yes.
Welcome to the Ranveer show.
Thank you.
Rani KoHEnur.
Yes.
Welcome to the Ranveer show.
Thank you. I've been waiting to have a conversation with you because I'm such an admirer.
Thank you.
And a fan.
It means a
Fan,
lot.
sir. Autograph later.
It does mean a lot. People know the media side to your personality. They know your achievements. I don't think they know what happens in the background. And above all, I don't think they know your story. Right from the time you were discovering yourself in your childhood, your teenage. We were just talking before this
Yes.
in my very peaceful meditation room.
Which I love.
I'm so glad you came
Yeah.
down to the space.
Yes.
We spoke about how the world has fast forwarded in the last 2 years because of the lockdown. In every aspect, people's relationships are fast forwarded.
Yeah.
Culture,
Yes.
all that. How's your lockdown been? Let's start there.
It's too A-rated. for this. No, but or the lack, I think, of. But I think that it has been very revealing. It's been very empowering. Also because it gave me so much time with myself and allowed me to realize that I don't have to adhere to what people's narratives about me are.
Which were what according
Which
to you?
were basically to adhere to heteronormative outlines. As somebody who identifies today as non-binary and trans, I was always, a little skeptical and scared to speak about me being not male or female. And it always scared me because of the depiction of queer people, transgender people in media, because we were shown in a very bad light.
This is the 90s kid in you speaking.
Yes. And it was very traumatizing. I didn't have the assurance that I could have an equal life, equal opportunities. I didn't believe as a kid that maybe I might have respect. I might have a family that accepts me. And so for me, it was a little, it was more internal conflict because it wasn't, not necessarily, the outside world was not as bad as I thought it would be, because it was my inner saboteur that was speaking and it was coming to the fore. But then when, I saw all of these things happen in pop culture and mainstream media and films, I felt a little like bad, but I also knew that this is not what I want to be.
Can you like highlight that a little more
Yeah.
deeply? Like
Yeah.
what did you see in pop culture, especially growing up?
I
Versus
just-
what is the reality?
Yeah, I think that queer people were always made to be the laughing stock in a film. Characters were dehumanized, actually. And I really didn't blame the actors that played the characters, because, for example, there were people like Bobby Darling that has played so many characters, and we've seen her in so many films. And, a lot of people used to say a lot of nasty things to her, and she didn't have a choice. Where were the scripts? You had scripts that were celebrating toxicity whether it was patriarchal toxicity or toxic masculinity,
Yeah.
and you were objectifying women, you were dehumanizing transgender people, and somehow in the 90s it was celebrated.
Yeah.
And
You know, and I'm gonna be like very upfront here.
yeah,
As a boy growing up watching that,
yeah,
you kind of normalized it growing up as well.
yes,
I remember like it took me, I think, up till my teenage to understand these concepts.
yeah.
Pre-teens, you know, I was a part of the narrative, the part of the
I
toxicity.
was a part of the narrative, which is why I had to be very closeted. Although I was, no closet could, envelope
Hold
all this
you.
fabulosity. It can't. But the thing is that I had to also be a little on the back foot, because I felt that if I came out more in the open in my early teenage, I would probably be attacked. I would be, um, bad things would happen to me.
What was going on in your head as a 10, 11-year-old?
I really honestly thought that, like, if I come out as gay, or if I come out as a trans person, I'd not even imagined that I would be non-binary. Like, I didn't even know what the concept was, because there was no conversations like this. And this is so beautiful, because this conversation will reach so many kids that have this dysphoria, or they have this sort of conflict within themselves. We didn't have people to look at and listen to,
Yeah.
and all that we could see was, these characters that were depicted by queer people, but like, and even heterosexual people, even men portrayed them so badly on in the films. So I honestly thought that, would if I had to choose a career like this, which is why I honestly did not even think that I would be an entertainer or performer or a singer or an artist, actor, nothing. I wanted to be a psychologist, because I wanted to study why people would think like this about an entire community.
Why do you think that is though? Why was the narrative even there?
I think it's heavily to be blamed on people's misconceptions about entire communities, and also completely disregarding the fact that there are so many intersectionalities between, you could be gay, you could be of color, you could be of a certain religion, you could be of a certain gender, and you could still be queer, and or of a socio-economic status. Nobody talks about all these things, and these are realities. People with people who are specially abled, or visually impaired, or hearing impaired, and
Yeah.
could be queer. Nobody talks about these stories, and they're real stories.
Yeah.
And for a very long time we didn't talk about impairment at all, like, or we didn't talk about uh, anything apart from the binaries at all. We didn't talk about transgenders being human at all. We made it look like, they're part of the circus, they're going to be there to be made fun of. That's all. And we could not see a transgender person in a film, and that depicted conditioning. Social conditioning was terrible, and we had been conditioned to believe that the only job trans people will have, or queer people will have, is either begging on the streets, sex work, throwing themselves at random men. And I don't think that that depicts the entirety of an entire community. And also, my sisters who are on the streets today, the blood for all of that is on our hands, because what have we done to help them? We have not educated them. They have two hands, two legs. Their they have the capacity to work and be productive members of the society.
Yeah.
Why then are they on the street? You think it's easy? Like, I'm shocked that people think that that's only, no, a trans person can't be a doctor, a trans person can't be a teacher, a trans person can't be a pilot, can't join the army, can't serve their nation, can't be a singer, actor. I'm like, where is this coming from? Because an artist is an artist, a doctor is a doctor. The doctor may be straight, gay, transgender later, but first they are a doctor.
Yeah. I also feel like Gen Z is changing this whole narrative.
Yes, I think that that's because they choose to educate themselves. Because our education system, if you go to see, we still don't have a lot of conversations in schools and colleges about.
Do you think that'll change in the next? I think it will change in the next 2, 3 years.
I hope it does.
I mean, education's happening through YouTube, kind
yes,
of a little
yes,
bit.
Yes, and I hope it does, because I see a lot of parents that have now stopped worrying about log kya kahenge. अभी लोगों को कहने दो. It's like that. The parents are like, ये अपने बच्चे हैं. My child has to be my child first. And gay, transgender, black, white, pink later. But first they're my child. My father said this very beautifully to me. He said, "You're not my gay child or my straight child. You're my child." And it ends there. It starts and ends there. I don't need anybody else's opinions about you to tell me how to raise you.
Yeah.
And I think that now more parents are becoming like that.
Speaking about your childhood, I'll tell you what happened in my head when I was growing up. When I was 10, I realized, oh, my body's changing. What is happening? Why am I feeling like this when I look at that beautiful lady on screen? So what was your story? What was your version of it? And how were you equating it out in your head when, see, I feel like you're a pretty self-aware person. So I'm pretty sure even as a kid, you were relatively
Yes.
more self-aware
Yeah,
than the average kid.
Yes, I was.
Which, by the way, is your strength. It's gotten you to
That's
where
why
you
I'm
are
a
right now.
psychologist. No,
Yeah.
that's why I studied the human behavior.
It's your
and
natural.
it's natural. But that's also the reason when I said it's all interconnected, because I wanted to understand how people could be so cruel to an entire community, how people could think like this about someone. It really,
Did
interested
you
me.
had any fear yourself
I
about
have
growing
many
up?
fears. I have so many. I told you I was scared that, if do I have to also get on the street? Do I have to also sell my body to earn a meal? Like, that was my self-talk. Like, because that's
As a
all
kid.
as a kid, I used to think about these things, because I was like, wow, that's bad representation, man. That's not something I want to do or be. I don't want to be pushed to an extent where I honestly believe that there's no other options for us.
You do know that, like, I mean, I think you're considered a role model now for the entire LGBTQ community. You are. And I think the deal with role models is that role models often need to suffer to be
Yeah.
able to create pathways for the people that come after.
Yeah.
So I know and this is what I love about you. You don't highlight your failures and struggles as much in the public eye, but I know that you've seen some stuff. So first of all, going out there in the media industry, you're a psychologist, you know all these things. What was like some, just for the sake of perspective, could you highlight like some really difficult moments you faced early on in your career, just for the sake of perspective? Because I feel difficult moments build character.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
what was some difficult moments for you?
Yeah, like when I'm an intimidating bitch today, it's not because I woke up like this, I saw a lot of people talk a lot of shit behind me. And then I realized that now, even today, they're behind me. It's just like, if I had to stay back and engage in this conversation with that person, I would then have to stoop down to their level and have that conversation with them. And I chose to be better. I said, I'm not going to do this. I'm not going to give you the benefit of doubt and give you the benefit of this conversation. So I'm going to move ahead. You can keep talking.
Like,
And,
what was it specifically?
I'll and as you asked me also, but first, how I discovered that
Sure.
previous question that
Sure,
you
sure,
asked
sure.
me, I didn't answer that. How I discovered, I was like, the first time I saw Alicia Chinay on television, I didn't discover anything because of her, but good haircuts and wigs I did. But I discovered that I like, I'm interested in men, not the way my counterparts and my friends were. When I saw Milind Soman come out of that chest, of that treasure chest in Made in India, okay, that changed a lot of people's perspectives about themselves, about life, about everything, because Milind Soman was like two words to describe my journey was Milind Soman. And it's quite crazy because he's a family friend.
Wow.
So it had to end there because I couldn't like really do anything about it. And it was
How old were
very,
you?
very, huh?
How old were you then?
I was about 5, 6 years old, and I was just like,
wow, like,
yeah.
wow.
I was like, what? Who is this? And then I realized it's Milind Soman. And I then realized that, my uncle used to train him as a swimmer. He was a swimmer. He was a national level swimmer. And my uncle used to train him. Then my father also trained him for a bit. But I was just like, oh shit. Okay, no, not happening. Like, when I grew older, then I realized, no, can't. But I always was like, wow, Milind Soman in that hole that, she opens the chest.
Yeah.
She doesn't open shit. He gets out of the chest with this chiseled body. And I'm like, is this allowed? Is this allowed? Should children be watching this? Like, I mean, this is too sexy. Like, it's just like, oh my God. And yeah, since that's when I realized probably that, I'm not like my friends discuss girls and stuff when we grew up a little bit. And the first time when I was 6, 7 years old, and so I was just like, something happened. I didn't know what to term it, because at that age, you don't know what, but something happened. I remember very clearly that there was something. And then when we grew older, and then how I was in an all-boys school, So for me, it was even more difficult to kind of fit in and stuff. But I was an overachiever in terms of sports, cultural activities. I was a sports captain of my school.
Wow.
And so when the other boys used to objectify girls and stuff, I used to be like, y'all are so disrespectful. Objectify teachers, they had the teacher fantasy.
Like
and
what?
stuff.
Uske boobs bade
Yeah,
hain, all that.
all of
That's a very
that.
guy
And I used to
school.
get like, my God, like I used to tell some of my friends who were, like, tumhare bhi boobs hain. What do you call that? We didn't know what they were called, moobs and stuff. I was like, don't judge other people, because I start getting sassy on your ass, you're finished. So I was like, don't do that. Like that's probably your mother's age. Like he's like, I'm like, what are you all doing? Like, why you all? Then I realized that, okay, then I don't look at women the same way that probably, that. And then there were some kids that were homophobic in terms of, I was obviously very effeminate. I was not like the other boys, clearly. Okay, even back then I was very androgynous. And I used to be like, I used to make fun of myself. Like I used to be, I am like this. तुम क्या गाली दोगे मुझे? Like my whole thing is that अरे कितना gay है, मतलब it's like me saying अरे कितना straight है. Stupid. It makes no sense. ये कितना transgender है. ये कैसा ये है. I'm like हाँ है, बहुत है. In fact, it is documented that I was the most gay person one of the most gay people in the world at Mr. Gay World India, when I represented the country and at least won some awards at it. तुमने straight होके क्या किया है? जरा बताइए हमें. So my thing is that my sass was there only since I was a kid, and I was a strong kid. So I didn't let anyone bully me. And someone tried to come and act fresh and act smart. I used to give them one whack. Because that's what my brothers taught me. That's one and probably only advantage of having older heterosexual brothers. They tell you how to protect yourself. Because they're like, we are not going to be there all our lives to protect you. So
you know what changed it for me?
Yeah.
Being a part of the narrative and not understanding queer people at all.
Yeah.
Have you heard this song by Macklemore called Same Love?
Oh my God. Yes.
When that came out, it changed things for me. The video, the music, I still listen to Same Love. And I think that's what you need, right? You need cultural narratives, you need music, content built around the queer community.
Exactly. In pop culture, like if you can name 3 people in pop culture today that are openly queer in India and are doing well, you won't be able to do it because there isn't enough representation.
And in 5 years, there'll be an answer to that question.
There will be.
And you'll be one of those people.
Well, am I already not?
I mean,
where is this modesty going? Where is this modesty going? My mother's going to watch this. Man, what is this? What did I teach you? Wow. No. But then coming to the fact that when you asked me, what was the journey like for me? I went through shit.
Hold on. Now that we're speaking about your teenage, I was a romantic teenager, I was so romantic that once, to impress a girl whose name starts with an A, I took my divider. I took a divider and I scratched out an A on my tricep and said, see, this is how much I like you.
Yeah. Oh my God. I was also very romantic, but like, kya kare na? Matlab,
what is love like? Like I understand the sexual aspect of growing up, okay, where all of us are attracted sexually to someone.
Yeah.
But what is the love aspect of it, where you're emotionally into someone? Or
my parents taught me and my brother that love cannot be defined. Leave love as it is. Because if I add labels to love, that is my perception of love. That might not be your perception of love. So if I'm going to impose that, then you will superimpose your thoughts on love about me. It's not fair. And love is very pure. So for me to say that love, I can tell you what it means to me. But honestly, in 30 years, I also don't know, because there are multiple facets of love. You can fall in love with a person's soul. You can fall in love with a person's on a spiritual level. It doesn't have to be sexual all the time. You're not all the time. There has to be more than that to a person, to be attracted to that person for a longer period of time. Otherwise, then it's just infatuation. So for me, I think that love for me is my definition of it. And I think that I love so many things about myself, about other people. And like, I might love 5 things about you. I might love 5 things about someone else. I might love 1 thing about someone else. It's like that. But it differs from person to person also.
This is good parenting speaking up. What you're saying?
I'm a mother hen only. I have queer children, no? So
No, but
I
also
was
the
like,
parenting you received.
my parents are rock stars. They are rock stars. Like I can vouch.
What role did they play in your past? When
Everything. I think my parents are the reason that I'm sitting here today with my back straight, and the confidence I have is only because of my parents. The fact that I have had the opportunity to chase all my dreams is because of my parents.
Mm.
I am because of my parents. I would not be or have been here. And my father very beautifully said to me that, not to me and to me also, but like to me just in conversation, but to other parents also, he says that it is our duty to take care of our children because we brought them in the world. They didn't choose to be born to us. We brought them into the world. So if we don't give them unconditional love and support, we are failing as parents.
Mm.
What they do as children is up to them. That's their journey. We can't live our dreams through our children. That's not fair.
Mm.
And we can't expect them to be a certain way because we feel that they should be a certain way.
Mm.
You do you and let them do them. It's very simple. And my father understands that. So when people today say, and my father's 65, he's not young. He's not a young parent. He's been a part of a very conservative, he has raised a modern family, but he was a part of a very conservative family. And if his father was alive, I know for a fact that things might not have been the same way. Like my grandfather, his father, might not have accepted me the way my father accepted me. And maybe that's the reason why my father believes that he doesn't want to be that father that would be condescending to their child. Like he wants to be the exact opposite and say that you are my child regardless. So my parents, and my mother's a diva. My mother is the diva. So I'm like this classic mix of both of them. So I'm very staid at in some moments, like, very zen. And then suddenly I'm like very sassy. It's like a perfect amalgamation of both of them. And I think that I have to owe each and everything that I am today because of my parents.
Your confidence and ease rubs off on people. Like I was having a tough week, man. Like there's nothing going wrong. It's just my own mental health battles kind of working against me. So after speaking to you, I feel chilled out. I feel like it's all gonna be okay. I don't know. I think that's the effect you have as a person.
Yeah, I guess it's also energies that kind of, it's reciprocal. Let me say that. Like if I did not feel this energy from you, I wouldn't open up. Also that, like I've given some interviews wherein I have been like this. Yeah. No. Maybe. Yeah.
Why though? Why? Okay, explain what you see in the other person, which just kind of.
It's not even something I see. It's something you feel. It's the aura. It's the way you speak to someone. It's the respect. It's the mutual understanding that you have that today we're going to have a conversation. I need to make the other person feel comfortable.
Yeah.
And in my profession, if I was pursuing mental health as a mental health professional, that's my job. But even that's what people say about mental health professionals, is that even when someone's fucking up or someone's doing something that they shouldn't be doing, you give them the benefit of doubt. It's like they have their struggles. So even in our friend circles, I'm just like, listen, anyone, two people are fighting, I'm the referee. And I'm like, stop, and this and that. But when two drag queens are fighting and I'm the third drag queen and if I can't stop the fight, I instigate it. Come closer, whack each other. Because finish it off once and for all. Because y'all are like waiting to tear each other's wigs off. I'm like, oh God. So it's like that. I live off of energy. So it's obviously your energy. If it wasn't great, I would have not been like this open, and I wouldn't be like chilling and being like myself. So that I think is very important.
Yeah, I think there's two major pickups for young kids watching this, especially kids who are going through all sorts of issues, right? One is the confidence you have, for sure. This is what you need, everybody. Like this is what you need, not just for success, but just to kind of settle down. Success in the head, as we call it.
Actualization. I think self-awareness.
So this word, right? Self-actualization. It took me a long time to understand it. Maybe till 6 months back. It's June, right? Yeah. 6 months back, I was in the Himalayas. and it switched something in me. It made me prioritize my own happiness over my own success, over my material
Yeah.
success. And these last 6 months have been transformative. I've had a lot of new spiritual experiences,
Right.
met some saints, actually witnessed miracles in my
But
own
see,
life.
that's the entire it's so unreal, and it's so coincidental that you were on the peak of a mountain and you understood what actualization is, because hierarchy of needs.
Yeah.
And most of us have studied it, economic students,
Yeah.
and economy students, and psychology students, and
Yeah.
we've all studied all
Yeah.
of that. And I think that actualization starts from when you kind of understand that you're on a journey, when you realize
Hold on, can you explain the basics of Maslow's hierarchy of needs, just to give some context?
this is like the free tuition class.
just in a friendly way, in
Yeah, so
like
basically hierarchy of needs is, when you have the the triangle where you have the basic needs first,
roti kapda
which is
makan.
roti kapda makan. Then you have slightly more secondary needs, like when you have made sure that roti kapda makan is sorted, फिर उसके बाद क्या होता है? Then you have your workplace, your job, your friends, your relationships, your whatever else, and then there's, I forgot the steps also, self-esteem and all that. अब self-esteem आप मेरे को बताओ, my sisters, my thing is that it's life. It's life. The Maslow's theory of that hierarchy of needs, it just is very self-explanatory. It's like, अगर यही sorted नहीं है तो काहे का आप self-esteem में जाओगे, या फिर self-esteem issues, या फिर your societal आपका ये एक relevance क्या है, आपका ये what is your standing in society, that you will think later when all these things are sorted. So for me, when which is why I want children that are transgender, that deserve at least the basics, then they will wake up tomorrow thinking that we want to do better. If you're not giving them the basic respect, we are not giving them. We're not giving them education. How are they going to aspire to be actualized? Because they also don't know what their real selves are.
But you know what the strength of transgender people is from the outside? And correct me if I'm wrong, but this is what I've observed, that you guys have a very 360-degree perspective on things. Because I feel everyone has a certain amount of masculine energy and a certain amount of feminine energy.
Yes.
And for cis males or cis females, the whole goal is, wait, I need to balance out the other half.
Yeah.
So you might have too much masculine energy and you might realize, oh wait, let's reduce the macho a little bit and increase the emotions. Yeah. And vice versa.
We all go through that.
But transgender people have like this nice 360-degree perspective.
I think queer people have that.
Yeah.
Is because we've been suppressed so much.
Explain this.
I think because we've not been allowed an equal playing ground.
Since you're a child.
Since we are within families also, na? We might be different. Like I keep telling people that I acknowledge my privilege. My privilege is that I am born to a family that loves me unconditionally and educated me. Those are my two privileges. Okay? So I'm not going to say that I'm privileged because this life that I choose to live is because I worked for it. My parents gave me the base, roti kapda makan. Uske baad they gave me education. After that they said, now you do what you want. Okay, we're not going to interfere with whatever, but make sure that you're safe and you're not harming someone else. With that, I went into the world. So for me, I always thought that if I can't take this pedestal that I've been given, these are very basic things to someone who's like elitist and someone who's more privileged than me, and say that what privilege? Privilege comes with its own this thing. No, but you have to acknowledge your privilege. Say you are, because if you're not going to, what is somebody who is a lower income group, someone who is, below BPL, for example, below poverty line? For that person, your life is aspirational. If you're going to unnecessarily say that I don't have privileges, for them, they automatically directly feel attacked. They're like, what are you talking? You do have privileges. Probably you've not understood them or you don't acknowledge them. I acknowledge my privilege. What is the downside of me being queer is that never stopped me, by the way, is that I knew I would go into a world where it was not an equal playing ground for me. I had to put my foot in the door and say, I exist. Give me a chance. My first audition, I didn't even enter the room and the casting director had told me, you're too gay for this advertisement. Wow. And it was a toothpaste ad. I said, but gay people also brush their teeth. What is too gay for a toothpaste? I said, हम लोग भी तो दांत घसते हैं. You know, I'm like, "Kya, kaun baat karta hai aise? What do you mean you're too gay for this?" So my thing is, and I have beautiful teeth and a dimple. I'm like, are you crazy? Like, you know, I used to feel like that much discrimination, that much stereotyping, that much negative emotions toward. I was like, where is it coming from? What that means? What conditioning have we given to the society and to the children, to our peers? That's when I realized that, you know, I have to take this pedestal. I have to do more with my life, not for myself, but for that kid watching
Yeah.
in some remote village that believes that they're not good enough and they're alone. You're not alone. No one's alone. For the longest time, I used to feel that I'm the only queer person, gay person in the entire city in Mumbai. You know, and today when I see people, you know, today you have the power of social media. Today you have, back then we didn't have phones that could connect us together. So, you know, they were, today when we say, you know, today when I say Gen Z is privileged, is because they have the power of speaking their minds. They have the power of creation. We didn't have that. We were boxed and said that अगर आप gay हो तो आप ये नहीं कर सकते. अगर आप transgender हो तो आपका काम है मांगना. इसके आगे अलावा आप सोचना भी मत. ये हमको बताया जाता था. People used to tell us to our face, अभी इससे ज़्यादा कौन insult कर सकता है आपको? At 16 I was told this. And the same casting director called me 5 years later when I was booking all the brands, whether it was coffee, whether it was tea, whether it was alcohol, it was clothes, it was toothpaste, it was cars. Even though I couldn't drive a car, I was selling it. Why? Because I believed in myself. I said, I am gay and I am beautiful and gay. And gay also means happy. And I'm happy with myself. I'm gay with myself. So you can't break me. And I will make sure you call me. I will work hard and I will come back. You can't tell me that I can't do it because I know I can. You know?
That's what needs to be out there.
Now he can't afford me only. Bichara. He called me also 6 months back for some campaign. I said, अभी तो अब वो rates नहीं चलेंगे और मैं तो अब तो बहुत ही gay, अब तो मैं trans हूँ. अब क्या कहोगे तुम? अब gay था, अब तो trans है. अब तो then I said, अब तो बहुत gay हैं. हम तो बहुत, आपकी product शायद बिक नहीं पाएगी हमारे वजह से. You know, I'm like,
you know, this is the power of confidence combined with hard work. And you know, just to any kid suffering in any form,
yes,
in any way. Doesn't even have to be queer kids. Even if you're just suffering out of a lack of confidence.
It's tough being a kid. I'll tell you that. It's tough being any kid. Kids are teased for their weight. Kids are teased for their eyesight. Kids are teased for being too intelligent. Kids are teased for everything. So my thing is, and where is it coming from? It's coming from bad parenting.
And insecurity.
Also because there are stereotypes that are attached to ज़्यादा मोटे मत होना, ज़्यादा दुबला मत होना, ज़्यादा ये का तुम चाय पियोगे तो काले हो जाओगे. What is this? ज़्यादा बाहर खेलने मत जाना. Our parents used to hit chappals and send us out to play. Like, go and play. Go out and play. Don't watch TV. Don't watch. Like, that's the reason why, you know, team sports we played. I was a swimmer. I was, you know, into all of these things, group singing in choirs and all of this. Why? Because, and that reflects on the people we are today. Yeah, I'm not saying I'm holier than thou or holier than this. I'm on a moral high horse. Nothing. If I can do it honestly, I'm saying if I can do it, I have seen so many kids that are so talented but people don't take a chance on them.
I know you have a deep spiritual side, so I'm just going to be straight up with you about this question. When we die and say we're reborn, right? Your soul, when it's up there in the astral planes in heaven, you select a life for yourself. You select certain experiences. No matter what the suffering is, no matter what the journey is, you say that, okay, this is the thing that my soul needs to complete my own journey. So I know somewhere you must have thought of this also, right? What do you think your soul thought up there and said that, okay, this is the life I want? Because you have seen some level of suffering professionally.
Yes.
What do you think your soul was thinking up there?
You know, I honestly believe that I probably was somebody who was a very wise person in the previous life.
It's carried over.
Yeah. And I think that some experiences from that soul has come because I'm telling you, at 6 and 7, I used to be like, this is not right. This is not done. This is, I used to feel bad that people used to get bullied. I used to feel not as bad that I got bullied, but somebody else got bullied.
Yeah.
And there was a time when I bullied someone, you know, I feel pathetic about it because it's a vicious circle. You get bullied, you bully someone else to look superior to that person. And I felt like shit. When I got, then the last day of my school was momentous for me because I won some awards and stuff through school and stuff. But I felt like shit. I need to go and apologize to this person that I said nasty things to because it was my insecurities. It wasn't his fault, you know? And I felt bad about that.
What did you say?
I said very nasty things about this person because he joined us in the 7th grade.
Oh.
And I was like, you're an outsider and you don't deserve to be here. And why was that coming? Because I was made to feel like an outsider.
Whenever, if you pick on someone, and all kids pick on someone at some point,
Yeah.
you're actually just saying the things you say to yourself in private.
Or people, you know, that people say about you.
Yeah.
And I was saying exactly what today also people think, that I'm an outsider only because I'm non-binary, only because I'm not male or female. That till today I have to go through. Till even if I have to get out of the studio, I'll be judged. So for me, my struggles start from the time I open my eyes about the fact that should I wear this to this place? Should I wear these nails, or should I, do my hair like this? It's such basic things with other heterosexual people might not even think of. It's such basic things like, am I going to be judged for the way I walk, the way I talk, the way I sit, the way... There are so many of my friends who work in companies that don't even use the restrooms because they're transgender, because they don't have gender neutral washrooms. So they hold it in their lunch break. They'll go to another, into a restaurant or something, and so that they're not judged at the workplace. These are basic things that we all deserve. Dignity, integrity. We have to challenge our own dignity and our own self with all of these things the moment we wake up.
How do you like deal with it, man? Because like just I feel there was this whole phase I went through where I was dealing with my own stuff, and I used to cry my way to comfort. And I'm sure you had days like that.
I cried today in the morning only.
because of specific situations, or
for a specific situation. But I think that it was also pent up, and I think that because we are so comfortable and we become professionals in pushing everything back in our subconscious.
That's what I want to know.
Yeah,
explain that.
Oh, I've pushed so much into my subconscious, which is why even as a mental health professional, even if I've got all my degrees and stuff, I know for a fact that every now and then, and in fact very regularly, even we must get checked. Like even we must go to somebody who can give us insights into our own being and what we're doing wrong.
Can I give you an insight?
Yes.
You're doing like amazing, man.
Thank you.
Like, and I wish I wish there was some kind of a time machine where we could go back.
Yeah, and correct things.
Yeah, not just for you, for like every queer kid.
For everyone.
And for every kid in general who has faced something.
Absolutely.
My belief, and maybe this is overly optimistic, but I genuinely feel like the world is becoming a better place.
It is, because it's also becoming a better space and place, because there's no time to hate.
Yeah.
There's no time to hate. You're so engulfed and so encapsulated in what you do. A lot of people told me, earlier they used to be racist when I used to go to other countries. They used to be racist. They used to be like, how can an Indian speak like, how can somebody who's gay or trans or, female expressive Indian brown person from a middle class family speak so well? I was like, because I worked on myself and I can shed all of these inhibitions, but how are you going to shed all this judgment? How are you going to deal with that? Because I can deal with this.
Yeah. The more you judge the world, the more you judge yourself as well.
Yeah, but you're basically mirroring. You're mirroring your thoughts. So I think now people have realized that there's no time for it. There's no time for hate. In all my videos or on all my content today, there will be thousands of messages that will be fantastic messages, but there will, to that 1,000, be 5 or 10 or 100 messages that will be hateful or derogatory, defaming, disrespectful. And I think that's because their journeys haven't started.
Yeah, 100%.
Not because of us.
They're coming to terms with how confident you are.
Can't, cannot, nahi ho sakta.
That whole thing you explained about shifting things to your subconscious mind, silent suffering.
Yeah.
It's something.
Unke saath to ho hi raha hai na? Yeah. It's happening to them. Because there have been people who have told me, you're not Indian. You cannot be Indian because you're gay. I'm like, I speak 6 Indian languages. I have represented this country, my country, your country, our country. At several occasions, I have put India on the world map. What have you done? To sit there and judge my gender and my orientation. Have you graduated from some university of sexuality or orientation that you can judge me? What have you done? I pay way more taxes than your entire family alone. I'm more productive to this country than you'll ever be. So don't judge someone, because if I have to get down to being, see, my thing is I have had to put guards up because I can't let anyone come and say anything and go away. That's not done. That's not cool. And I don't sit there being bullied in one corner, someone saying racial slurs at me, throwing racial. That's not happening. It's in 2021 now. You can't be doing that and get away with it. You open the door, come say something to me in my house and then walk out. Are you crazy? Stay, sit. I'll come, sit. I'll make tea for you. I won't mix poison in it. Sit. I will give you, I'm not giving you gyan also. I'm just going to give you a reality check. Where you stand, what are you talking, and who are you talking to?
Can you highlight some professional incidents? Because
Oh,
you know, when you were in your early 20s, and you were and you know what, like even five years back,
Yeah.
things were so different. You know, there was like just judgment, there was so much phobia. It was I kind of picked up on the toxicity then, because as a newcomer in the industry,
Yeah.
even I was facing it. So and I was a pretty, you know, standard person. Like,
Yeah.
just I didn't have to face you know how you highlighted that you wake up with a sense of, oh, what am I going to face today? I didn't have that. I had to just face it when I go into my professional setting.
Right.
So highlight some of that, if you could give us some stories just for perspective.
This channel that I worked for 3 years, one of the leading channels, GEC, General Entertainment Channels, one of the biggest, highest grossing shows also I did. And for them, the director, the guy who was a head back then, were very condescending. Very condescending. His daughter was my fan. Okay? Millennial, not Gen Z, millennial she was. Used to send me beautiful messages. And I think, can't say, but like, think maybe she was queer or whatever. And she used to take strength. Even if she was not queer, she was a fantastic ally. Okay? Just like you are. And you don't have to be part of the community. You don't have to be gay to support gay rights, or you don't have to be inhuman to support humanity. My thing is that there are two always. So you can be straight and support trans people. That doesn't make you trans. That I want to tell people. You're supporting humanity. So that girl was like that. Now, father, on the other hand, was ridiculous. Like every time. And the channel used to book me because I was talented. Not because I was like sleeping with someone, or my father was paying them money, or I was doing something like that and, you know, going around, you know, warming people's beds. That was not happening with me. I knew I was talented. I was young. I was talented. I had the fire in me to work. I was not like, एक शो कर लिया अभी बस 1 साल के लिए बैठ जाएंगे, ये पैसे पहले ये तो खत्म कर लें. It was never like that. That's also because my mother was a banker. ये तो तुम, she used to give me 10%. 10% तुम spend करो, और वो 90% जाते थे FDs में. You know, the basic middle class. You know? And I was like, listen, mom, like, when am I going to spend this money? What if there's no tomorrow? She's like, just shut up. There will be tomorrow and multiple tomorrows where you will not have this money if you spend it all. So like that, you know, all that used to happen with me. So this guy used to be condescending. He used to say very ridiculous stuff openly in front of the entire team and stuff like that.
And for a director to say that, that means the whole tone of the shoot becomes...
Not the director of the show. He was the head of the channel.
Wow.
And I know what he used to say behind my back also. And I had told one of the producers on the channel, there was a show, it was a dance-based reality celebrity show. I said, I want to do this. I'll tell you why I want to do this, because I don't want to do the stunt-based shows, and I don't want to be doing the, you know, like the isko gali do, usko gali do and stuff like that. I didn't want to do that because I'm not that person. But I said, let me show my talent now. What is there? And, you know, I mean, like, you're taking very mediocre people, and that's the reason why your ratings are going down. Like, even if you put like a star as a judge and stuff, that's not happening. Like, such mediocre personalities. Why don't you take a chance on me? Let them be there also. I'm not like canceling them, but give me a chance. They said, yeah, but will you dance with a man or a woman? Your partner will be a man. I said, how does it matter? How does it matter? That that is one aspect of it. It's part of your format. I said, why don't you take a chance and be the first country in the franchisee of this show to introduce me as the first person to be dancing with the same gender, with a man, for example. Okay. Back then I identified as gay, as a man. Today I'm non-binary, but back then in 2014, 15, 16, I identified as a man. So for me, I was like, why don't you take a chance? No, can't happen. People will not like it. But I said, I just did another property a year back and people loved me on the show. Why aren't you taking the chance? No, no, this, that, this, and something like that. Then they had a straight person who dressed up as a woman and performed with another woman. That's okay for them. Why? Because that man is heterosexual. If there is a transgender person, if there is a gay person, if there is LGBT, then they don't want to take a risk.
What's the risk?
Risk for them, no?
But
For in their head, this is a risk. People will not like it, it seems. And I said, what are you talking about? How can you talk like this to me, first of all? And I said, take a chance, at least see what. If it doesn't happen, eliminate me in the first week. Let me go. But give me the chance. Till date, like not they didn't call. They called me for some other shows. And I said no, because it's just not my comfort zone. It's also some things that, you're just like not. Why will you condone something that you're not happy with? So I said no to those. I said, this is one show you all have been sitting on. When are you all going to call me? When the team changes, when this guy leaves, when this one leaves, and that one leaves, when everything changes, that's when you'll call me. Why can't you be the agent of change? Why do you want 10 countries to do this? You won't believe it. In 6 months, UK did it. They had the first TV host in the celebrity edition of that show. They had the first TV host who was a man who was openly gay and danced with a male partner. And they made headlines everywhere and they said, such a progressive country. So when you have the power to do something in your country and put India on the world map, you don't want to do it. Why? Because you have preconceived notions.
And also, it's kind of sad that if you actually study ancient history of India, we were a progressive country.
We have always been, till the Britishers came and fucked it up.
Yeah.
Honestly.
Yeah.
And I don't have any qualms in saying this, because what they teach us in our history books is one thing. What our forefathers have, what our ancestors have gone through, only they know. Only they know what they've gone through. So when you speak about the freedom struggle, today for us to just like do, a flying mention of it and that we're done. We studied for the syllabus. How many of us really get into that and understand? That same revolution is happening for my community today. We're asking for equal rights in a democracy. We are asking for respect. We are not asking for special rights. Don't lay the red carpet for us. Don't give us extra salaries. Give us jobs so that we don't have to sell ourselves on the street.
Do you see it changing? I'm not talking about Bombay. I'm talking about outside.
I think honestly, and I need to give this respect to places like Chhattisgarh, like Raipur and Indore and Bhopal, where they are actually more progressive than metropolitan cities and states. What is our state? What are we doing? It's not center or state for me. It is governance. Whether you are center or state, I'm centrist. I'm like, you do good work, great, we will clap. If you're not doing work, how do you expect people to go in and vote? And vote for what? I voted. I've always voted. Okay? I don't waste my vote. But then I also take accountability for my vote. There are so many people who will be like, काहे का वोट करने का? हमको तो रास्ते पे फेंका है. जब इलेक्शंस आते हैं, इनको हिजड़ों का वोट चाहिए. तब तक 5 साल के लिए कोई पूछता नहीं है, हमारे को सुनता नहीं है. 2 साल में, 3 साल में एक बार आते हैं ये लोग. That is the word on the street. If that you want real talk, that is the real talk from the community. Because why should we vote? तुमने क्या किया है? आके तुम 2 महीने का 5 महीने का राशन दोगे हमें, वो भी 500 रुपए. If I take you to Kamatipura today, if I take you on the streets, you'll cry. You'll shiver. You'll not be able to stand that. But that's the reality. Where are their opportunities? Why are they called other gender? What is other gender? It's transgender, or it is non-binary, or it is, you call it, what is other? It's like, you categorize. अभी other में डाल दिया आपको, आप categorize कर लो अपने आप को जो भी करना है. What What do you mean by that? Will I say that if you're male and you do that, kar lo jo bhi karne ka hai, you'll get offended, right? Or if a woman has to be said, if I have to speak to like that about a woman, she'll be like, what, you, that's outraging my modesty. Trans people, according to that bill and stuff that they pass, they have to prove they're transgender. What do you mean prove? You want me to undo myself and show you that I'm transgender? Being trans is not just bodily. Just because I've not undergone surgery, that doesn't mean I'm not non-binary or I don't fall on the trans spectrum. Am I stupid? You think that I'm stupid that I will just go lying around that I'm trans in a society where people look down on you because you're trans? Where is your common sense? Agar for convenience sake, I would just like, if it was a switch, आज भाई आज सैटरडे संडे तो मैं ट्रांसजेंडर का स्विच ऑन कर लेता हूँ, कर लेती हूँ, कर लेते हैं. If it was that simple, we would have chosen to be heterosexual, na? We are not ashamed of being transgender. You are now shaming us for being ourselves also. You're asking us to prove our transness. Who does that?
But what's the general tangent according to you? Where is this country going?
I think my country that I know of, which was India before colonialism, was the most beautiful country. It was the most wonderful nation to live in, the richest culturally as well as economically. We accounted for 31% of the world's GDP. Okay, now that's a lot of money. Where did it all go? Why did we allow it to go? And why aren't we fighting for it? Why are we annihilating, एक दूसरे को काट रहे हैं यहाँ पर on basis of religion, caste, gender, orientation? ये हम ही खुद में लड़ रहे हैं तो दूसरों को काहे का काम है हम लोग को लड़वाने के लिए? We don't have to fight wars because we are fighting each other. It's terrible. So I think as people we need to understand. That day I heard that they are not allowing trans people in the army. Arre, that person wants to serve the nation. तुम उसके झंडे पे अटके हुए हो. For 1,000 men that don't want to join the army or the services, if there is one trans person who wants to join, आपका क्या कम होता है? आपको ये है कि नहीं यार, अब now there will be a trans person, तो उनके लिए अलग सा मेस बनाना पड़ेगा, अलग का staying quarters बनाना. That is your issue. Means where are we heading? So my thing is that I think that for my country, I can do anything. And I will do anything. And I will never speak ill about my country because I know how beautiful it was. I know who fucked it up. I know who did this to our country, and that is the Britishers. But when they left us, Section 377 हमारे rules और laws नहीं थे. जो हमने उसको adopt करके we have gone ahead for so many years. We only abolished Section 377 in 2018. तब तक क्या कर रहे थे? You were conveniently pressing the other gender so that they could not rise up to the same level as male and female. Because अभी ये भी competition आ गया फिर. हमारी opportunities कम होंगी. कैसे होंगी? You are still doing your shit, na? That means you will dehumanize someone to an extent where they're on the streets so that you feel good about yourself. That's toxic. And that shouldn't be allowed. And I think there should be an umbrella law in our country that safeguards anybody from discrimination. Every person should be safeguarded under this law. There are certain laws that, that's another thing that we don't know our laws very well. And my thing is that this is not a civics lesson or history lesson. No. But my thing is that we need to understand that we were a very rich, culturally rich country. We celebrated transgenders. They were considered demigods. भगवान के बाद इनकी opinion सुनते थे राजा महाराजाएं. उधर से लेके आपने रस्तों पे फेंका है उनको. How do you sleep at night?
What's your perspective of that? That as in, yes, they were very highly valued in society. But what was the logic behind that?
I honestly believe that, as you said very earlier, because they have a 360-degree perspective. Whether they were in the king's court or the queen's court, kings and queens had different courts. Again, because of toxic masculinity. It was like, औरतें हमारे यहाँ पर नहीं होंगी, औरतों का अलग सा होगा रहने के लिए. वहाँ पर भी किन्नर थे. वहाँ पर भी the protection, people used to protect, the protectors of the queen were transgender. Why? Because they had the power to beat a man. If any man invaded, they would beat them. If they were also in the king's palaces, they were also in the queen's palaces. So they were all they had a 360-degree approach, as you said. So they were the counselors to the kings. Unke senapati the. They were transgenders. The people who used to give them the royal eunuchs. They even in the the kings and queens, even in abroad, they had royal eunuchs. They used to take everything. Should I do this? Should I do that? Why they used to ask them? Because they had a multicultural and also the perspective was very, very 360 degree. They knew what they were talking about from a man's point of view, from a woman's point of view. If they were fighting a female queen, for example, and you were a king, an emperor, and that she was an empress, how can you kind of sort of go around beating her? That only a trans person used to tell. So they had the order हमको दिया गया था हमारी community को, and especially the trans people, intersex people, they were put on like here. From there, where have they gone? Like, why?
In the modern day, what do you think is the application of that?
I honestly think that trans people are the in Hinduism and in any other culture, you see that they depict duality of gender. For me, that is the basis, like what we call Shiv Shakti.
Ardhanarishwar, you mean?
Ardhanarishwar, that's right. Shiv Shakti is basically the amalgamation of energies that created humanity. Right? Some people perceive it as, now that is according to also subject to interpretation. Some people perceive it as gender fluidity. Some people perceive it as the reason for humanity being born. Only when male and female energy mixes, then you can create humanity.
Yeah.
Right? We have male and female in us. And you all treat us like shit. So you are disrespecting in a way God.
Yeah.
You're disrespecting that holy almighty and all of that, because we are celebrating it. We are the ones that are thrown in a corner and said, now fend for yourselves. You all are not adhering to societal जो हमने create किए हैं. ये भगवान ने नहीं create करके दिए थे. या फिर colonialization के पहले कहाँ होता था ये सब?
It's culture and content that's going to change things.
Yeah,
absolutely. Hopefully someone will watch this who will be a policymaker going forward. And
I hope so. What if we become policymaker? How cool will that be?
And that's the application of it in the modern day.
Yeah.
Male, female perspectives, both.
Yes.
I know you're spiritual again. And I got to keep highlighting that because it's the Ranveer show. I know somewhere low-key you might even be feeling that Ardhanarishwar energy inside you.
Yes.
Is it something you're conscious of? And if I say the word God to you, what do you visualize?
See, for me, I think I see God in everyone. That's the beauty of it. I see God in everything and everyone. There's a reason why we are here. There's a reason why we're having this conversation. For me, that's an experience. And for me, if that's a positive experience, and I honestly think that in our mythology, in our history, in our culture, when people say, this is not in our culture, तो आपने कौन से books पढ़े हैं? आपने पढ़ा क्या था? या आप सुनाई नहीं, दिखाई नहीं देता, क्या हो रहा है आपको? तो मैंने कहा मेरा कल्चर और मेरा माइथोलॉजी जो अनफॉर्चुनेटली आई हैव टू से आपका भी है, ये यहाँ पर किसी ने हमको ऐसे सोसाइटी से अलग नहीं किया था. ये आपने किया है, ये आपके सोच ने किया है, सोच विचारों ने किया है. बट मैं आप में भी हम भगवान देखते हैं, क्योंकि आप में भी कुछ ना कुछ अच्छाइयाँ तो होंगी. दिस इज बेसिकली बैड कंडीशनिंग. इसका मतलब ये नहीं कि आप इंसानी खराब हो. So my thing is that I see God in everyone, and even some gods also have made mistakes that has been written about.
Yeah, there's a beautiful saying which I have to keep re-bringing into this show. God is also a being that's constantly evolving.
Yes. Why do you think God has so many avatars? Tell me.
It's discovering itself.
And also so many facets, so many verticals. Why do you think Lord Shiva had Ardhanarishwar also, for that matter? As one of the avatars, to show the duality. We don't want to respect that, and we want to say that no, transgender is not part of it. कि तो हमारे कल्चर में नहीं. कौन सा कल्चर की बात कर रहे हो आप? आपको हक किसने दिया है? Who has given you the right? Have you had a telephonic conversation with God that I am not aware about? मेरे को भी नंबर दो. It's like किससे बात कर रहे हैं आप? और किस बारे में बात कर रहे हैं? I am very religious. This is Durga.
Yeah. It's so strange you're bringing up Durga, man.
I believe that God is in me. God is in all of us. Who are you saying who is not religious?
What is Durga for you?
For me, Durga is epitomizes power, epitomizes strength and conviction. For me, Durga is also the name of my drag child. My queer child is also Durga. And but Durga for me is every strong representation of women that have fought all the odds to overcome it. My mother, my grand, emotional.
Say it.
You know, all the strong female characters and inspirational figures in my life are Durga for me.
Yeah. Same.
Yeah.
My sister, my mom.
All of them.
Yeah.
Your sister, your mom also for me. Because they have all gone through shit that we can't think of. You can't even think of it. I keep saying this. Even though I have that female energy in me, I know I'm non-binary. I have that female energy. I will never be able to go through even a single day what a female goes through. I can't. I know that. That is why I respect women, because women are the creators of humanity. Without women, there's nothing. You can't. It's just biologically impossible. So we all need to respect women.
Yeah.
And every woman is Durga, Saraswati, Lakshmi, everything for me.
I feel like there needs to be more talk about this, especially in our country. Where we just people are facing all these issues like being marginalized. You need to highlight aspects like what does Durga stand for? What is this divine feminine? The whole world is highlighting divine feminine. What does divine feminine even mean? So on a personal level, like I had a terrible breakup 2 years ago, and that led me to just losing trust in women. Right, and that was my own journey. And very soon that started to get sorted out when I met women who had a cleaner heart than the person who had broken my trust. Women who were more healing than the person who had broken my trust. So it took me some time, and I was in Rishikesh. Okay, you smiled.
Yeah. I mean, who will not smile at Rishikesh? No?
I was in Rishikesh, and that whole vacation for me, I remember I left my house upstairs. And I prayed before I left because I found out something about my ex, okay, which hurt me. And I was just praying, and I got this intuition that this particular vacation will be deeply spiritual for you. And I went through the whole vacation. Bits of it definitely were, but I didn't find that. I didn't find the answers I was looking for. And on the last day we were there, this guy comes up to us and says, right outside Rishikesh, 1 hour, 2 hours from here, there's something called the Kunjapuri Mata Temple. And again, this is like something from Hindu culture. We have a culture of Shakti Peeths in this country, which are supposed to be like portals of intense divine feminine energy.
Right.
Sounds like faff when you just hear these words.
Yes.
And you need to experience it. It's again not a religious thing. You need to go there and see what you feel.
Yeah.
All spiritual places. It could be a dargah, a church, a temple. Yeah. They all hold intense spiritual energy, and they hold different identities of it. Yeah. So I the moment I heard him say Kunjapuri Mandir, I was like, okay, I need to go see it because maybe this is what the whole vacation led up to. And you usually go to the Kunjapuri temple for the sunrise there. So we left at 4 a.m. You drive through a jungle. We reached there when you're kind of seeing the skies changing color.
Yeah.
You walk up and it's a pretty long walk. It was winter, so it's cold.
Oh my God.
You're walking up and you're feeling that energy increase. You go there. The temple's made of like stone. It's got like a stone floor. You're supposed to remove your chappals. It's freezing cold. You feel like you're walking on ice, but it's purity that you feel walking towards the main center. And the main center of the temple, they've got this, like, they say it's a perpetual fire that keeps burning.
Right.
So the legend of the Shakti Peeth was that if you know the Shiva Shakti story, Shivji was married to a lady she was a princess, and her family didn't accept the fact that she married Shivji because he was an asset. He was a sage.
Yeah.
And sages were looked down upon as no, he's a hermit. He wears like animal skin and lives in the jungle. So she said, I don't care and I still want to get married to him. Eventually her father called her back to their kingdom for a function, and Shivji wasn't invited. And at the gate of the function, they built a sort of murti of Shivji and said that, that's just a watchman's murti, to make fun of her husband. And out of the embarrassment, they said that she jumped into a fire. And that's why the word Sati is a whole different conversation. But let's not even get there.
Yeah, no.
But that's where the word Sati arises out of. That she sacrificed her life for the love that she held in her heart. When he found out that this had happened, he went into his most angry state
Right.
and he did the Tandav.
Yes.
And he carried her body around the Indian subcontinent.
Mm.
And wherever her body parts fell, that's where they say the Shakti Peeths arose. Like
Oh.
balls of energy kind of arose there. Like these. Yeah.
I mean, you learn something new every day. And I believe this. I believe the divine energy.
This particular one, they said it held her heart chakra, like a heart chakra, and her breast had fallen on the Kunjapuri temple. Coincidentally, heart chakras get broken when you go through bad relationships or when you go through any kind of heartbreak.
Right.
I was deeply heartbroken at that point in my life. I'm walking up to that central fire, and I can even feel like the cold floor like healing me. I sat there.
Surreal, man.
Yeah. The Pandit's like doing his chants, and I went into like this deep meditation.
Yeah.
I don't know what entered me in that temple. I don't know what I went through, but I came out healed, definitely healed, with a certain amount of respect for women.
Yeah.
I remember going back to Bombay, just hugging my mom, saying
So
thank
sweet.
you for going through. It was just perspective I got.
I guess. Yeah.
Sometimes these energies hold information as well.
Yeah. And I guess also it's very subjective. Now, this may have sort of evoked that reaction from you or elicited that reaction from you. But for somebody, it might just be, something more basic.
Yeah.
Or something more on an everyday basis. Like they might see something and then, like I have seen a lot of people that the father is very disrespectful to the mother in the home. And the son feels like, okay, it's okay to do that to a woman. Till the time it crosses a level and when the son revolts and says, that's my mother. You can't do this anymore. You might be my father, but that's my mother. And she might be your wife, but that's my mother. And I think it's very different. I've seen that closely, very, very unfortunately. And today that woman is like amazing. She's like running an entire organization. She's built a empire. She's got married again. And, my friend is happy. He's married. My friend is. So my thing is that like, I think it changes for different people differently.
Yeah.
And I think I'm so happy that you had that experience because at least that, that's a possibility and that you can't be broken forever because you will fix.
Yeah.
You will fix.
Maybe it happened to me because I had to share it through content for all you know. Maybe I think that's the power of content, right?
Yes.
Same Love gave me perspective as much as that trip to the temple.
Yeah.
Go hear Same Love. I'll link it down below. It's a beautiful
Oh
song.
my God. Yeah. I mean,
this conversation got way more intense than I had expected. We're talking about
I expected it.
This intense.
Yeah. Because I mean, you are also so evolved and you've been on this spiritual journey. So I expected it. I'm shocked that you didn't expect this.
I expected a version of this, not as deep as it
I liked
ended up
it,
going.
but
I
every
guess
now and then to, I think, kind of rise above, to dumb it down. And you don't have to always, like, I think, personally.
No.
With my content also, and also the body of work, I have had to dumb it down a lot. So I think that when you kind of get into this space where also kind of you're showing this side of me is very beautiful also, because a lot of people think that we're only, the sass and pizzazz, and then there's no personality or there is no honesty to what we do, even as queer people. So I think that that's great.
Yeah. We have this very loved Twitterverse section.
Okay.
That's the last section of the show. But right before that, and I wish we could have spent more time on this particular one.
Yeah.
But I know that you had this whole evolution after, you got established professionally. You got into drag and like there was this whole kind of evolution that happened.
Yeah.
So run us through that. Like,
what do you have to say about the evolution of the hair through this episode that has happened? This is the problem with people who have curly hair. They'll get me. Because you come looking like all nice, soft, like nice, intense, like this curls, and now it looks like a, what it looks like? It looks like a tree.
No.
I'm a shrub. Yeah.
Well, I think
can I just be part of your furniture?
No. I think you've got people.
You can put me in this glass. The hair.
I think it's all your words and the vibe that's already gripped people.
Yeah. They'll
Yeah.
think that इसके बाल को क्या हो गया है? सूख गए हैं.
No. It's looking good. It's looking good. It's again like I love how you're just like laying out everything.
Yeah, I mean, it's better to be honest.
Yeah. Um.
This is a natural phenomenon.
Yeah. It you laid out so much that even I've laid out two intense parts of my life. One is the Durga Ma story, and
Yeah.
one is scratching out an A on my
A on your
tricep.
How you now be a tricep?
Oh man.
Oh my!
I still have a bit of that mark
Oh
though.
God!
Yeah, and
then it was quite hard. Yeah.
it was stupid. But it got me the attention of that girl. So
Oh, now that's then it's a win-win.
man, okay. Let's talk about that evolution because I've heard so much of about your career from our common friend Nandini Shenoy, who's going to co-host this show very soon with me.
Yeah, she is. She's too cute. She's been like, behind me to kind of, do this and do that. And, I used to look at her like a baby.
Yeah.
So therefore, you're also like, for me, a baby only. Okay. For me, anybody who's my friend's younger sibling and their friends are like children to me. Like, even if you're a year younger than I am, I feel very motherly. I feel like I have to take care of you. I have to protect you from the evils in out there. So for me, I think Nandini is a baby. I remember her being like this very playful, and her older brother and I were friends. So when we used to go to her house to play, and he used to be, don't touch my toys. Like I used to feel so bad. I used to give her like this, like you play with this like that. I started being so mean to her. So, but I think that, I think we all have that one friend that I know that, you spoke about this, that, your source of information for a lot of things for this conversation was her, because she's so evolved. I'm so proud of, you and her and, people who are young and have that fire to know and to learn and to understand another person's journey. And I think that takes a lot of...
for me, it's having friends like her, right? Like
Yes.
choosing to listen to her. And I've known her since I was a child, and me and her have only dark conversations or stupid conversations. But once in a while, we'll have intense conversations also. Also, I feel for a guy, it's so important to have female friends. Like we hear this whole narrative of ladka ladki dost nahi ho sakte. Your best perspectives in life will come from
and this is why a lot of my male friends that I take as brothers, and I can do anything for them, is that they're like, Sushant, like anything happens, like they'll come to me and talk to me about things that they would not even talk to another heterosexual man friend. They'll come to me, and because again, that perspective is there. And I think that even when I have to talk to somebody, I will go to somebody, if that regardless of gender for me. So if I have an issue which is like to do with a guy, I will speak to my guy friends. If it's something that is to do with about me finding my non-binary self, basically through drag. Even through drag, my inspirations were all strong women.
How did that switch happen?
That switch happened because I was tired of being typecasted as and sort of underplaying myself.
Hold on, for someone who doesn't have any perspective on what drag is,
Now,
just explain everything. Explain the ABCs, and even explain ABCs of what was happening in your head.
So drag is a performance art. Drag is basically a performance art when you kind of usually, till a couple of years back, they used to believe that if you are performing as the opposite gender and kind of inculcating the characteristics, the look, the personality of the opposite gender, then that's drag. Now, so if you were a man, and drag is for everyone, and drag as a performance art is not only for the gays or the LGBT community. It is for everybody. So even if a straight man can do drag, you can also perform as a woman, but that doesn't make you any less of a man, if you know what I mean. It's just for stage. So drag is a performance art. When you go up on stage or you go in front of the camera and you're performing, you're singing,
I
dancing.
have to interrupt you. I know this one trivial piece of information about you that you have a crazy vocal range. So just on the podcast,
Yes.
could you like just demonstrate that a little bit so people get perspective of why you've made it so big in
What
drag?
do you have rights to songs or what? I can sing. Now that.
Maybe just give us a tune or something without the lyrics.
I have my originals. Now I should let's promote it, please.
Sure.
Let's now promote.
Sure.
I'm still, I still have the middle class values. जहाँ पर भी जाओ अपने friends को बोलो थोड़ा promote करें. Like that, And if I didn't sing my own songs, my mother would have been like, तुम्हारा गाना क्यों नहीं गाया? तुम मतलब तुम्हारा बोलना क्यों बंद हो गया? It's like that. So I want to have good dinner and I think not get a pasting. So no, I'll sing. I actually have multiple octave range. And before going into that, breaking into a song, I would just like to say that, when you spoke of drag is it's a multidisciplinary art form. Like anyone can do it, everyone can do it. And it doesn't restrict itself to gender. I think art is very pure. When we attach labels, अब तो लोगों को labels देने से थक गए हैं. अब art, inanimate objects, performance, इनको सब labels दे रहे हैं. So I don't think you should label art. The artist can be gay, straight. Art is not gay, straight, black, white. Art is art. And art is very pure. So I perform, whether it is in drag as Rani KoHEnur as I perform, or if I perform as Sushant. My art is the winner. My art is what needs to be put forth before me also. I am just the medium. I believe artists are just mediums to carry forward the art and to project it to other people. That's the essence of being an artist. That's why you get so much joy when you have the power to change people's minds through your art. So for me, what is empowering and what is milestone, yes, being on the cover of Vogue magazine, being in Forbes, being recognized by Forbes, being one of the cultural ambassadors from India multiple times, winning all these awards and all. Yes. But my biggest achievement is when I was on television as Rani KoHEnur and I turned on my first audition round when I sang. And first, my mother's reaction, because she cried. And whenever I see my mother crying, I get emotional. And the fact that I knew that through this song and through this journey on that show, I will be touching so many lives of people in smaller towns that don't have this opportunity. For me, I was thinking of them. I was singing for them.
Again, content and culture. Content and culture narrative.
Yeah. I was singing for them because I said, you all need a voice. And if God has, or if the Almighty, or if the powers have chosen me as a messenger, then so be it. So be it. Why not? I'm not going to deny you or myself that. So a lot of people will be like, nahi yaar, why Sushant hi sabke, Sushant ko ye mil raha hai, Sushant ko. Art is the winner here.
Yeah.
Not you and me. Art is the winner. And the fact that the messaging that the art has to send, So whenever I've gone on so many platforms, I've been judged before I go on stage, and before I start singing, I've been judged. क्या पहना है, क्या बाल हैं, ये क्या है, औरत है या मर्द है, कौन किन्नर है, transgender है, what is छक्का है, all that I've heard. Till I go on the mic and I take that mic, I close my eyes and I imagine this kid that probably is going through all this and doesn't have a voice to speak about all these things. I think about that child and I sing. And all of these people that have said nasty things to me, shut up.
Or to those kids.
Yeah. Or to those kids. Because they'll now never say that. They'll think before saying it. Because they'll be like, ye to in mein hunar hai. They also have the right to dream. And I think that for me is, for me, very empowering.
That's your gift.
Yeah.
That's your gift.
Yeah. And I have to use it. So on that note, तुझे देखूं या तेरा साया देखूं, तुझे देखूं या तेरा साया देखूं, या देखूं मैं खुद के प्यार को, अब तू ही बता मैं क्या समझूं इस जश्न बहार को, अब तू ही बता मैं क्या समझूं इस जश्न बहार को.
Oh man. Wow.
So that
That was all the energies inside you singing. Wasn't
yeah.
just you.
Yeah. You know, and then and when you asked me about my workplace experience and stuff, I had gone for I went to lend my voice as a playback singer to a very two famous composers. They were rivals for that song to be picked up for the film. And I said yes to it because it was not condescending lyrics. I sometimes don't feel that I should take up songs which demean women, objectify women. मैं तंगड़ी कबाब हूँ, मैं ये हूँ, कोला हूँ, मैं उसको मेरे को गटका ले. These lyrics just people might enjoy it. I don't. So for me, because if I am standing for something that I really believe in, then this is going against that. For me, I'm not saying everybody has to feel like I do. That I personally feel. So I walked out on a lot of opportunities, but I also realized that I'm doing that so I can sleep well at night. I know for a fact that I'm not disrespecting someone. Tomorrow, if someone can just not like point a finger at me and say, first they will point a finger at my orientation, then they'll point a finger at me for doing this, then that. So for me, I'm just like, nahi karna hai. The first time I went into for an audition, the music composer was like, आपकी आवाज बहुत अच्छी है, but आप किसके लिए गाओगे? At first I felt nice, and that किसके लिए गाओगे मतलब I'm saving you money, I can sing for both the actor and the actress. He's like, nahi, the audience will not accept it. I said, have you tried it? You are underestimating the common man, common person. You are saying the people of this country will not accept something when you have not tried only. So how can you say and how can you undermine the sensibilities of your people? That means you're very one-dimensional. कि औरत ही औरत के लिए गाएगी, आदमी ही आदमी के लिए गाएगा, आदमी ही औरत को ऑब्जेक्टिफाई करेगा, यही सब होते रहेगा. How are you changing? I said, but that's the reason why I'm not in front of the camera, na? I am playback. What is the meaning of playback singing? Is that I'm behind the camera. वैसे तो अगर आप देखना चाहो तो इतनी सारी औरतें साड़ियों में पहन के साड़ियां पहन के रिकॉर्ड करती हैं with two plaits and with gajras and all that, but they are singing लैला में लैला. You see the discrepancy. That फिर तो उनको भी नहीं करना चाहिए, because if you're imagining that singer, you're not imagining the singer. That is up. You leave it to the audience what they want to imagine. आपने ट्राई ही नहीं करके बोल रहे हैं कि आप तो नहीं आप गे हो, आप ट्रांसजेंडर हो, आप नहीं गा सकते. गा सकते हैं, आप गवाना नहीं चाहते. That is the crux of the matter. So if you don't give me an opportunity to showcase my talent, I'm not losing anything because I'll still connect with my people. I'll still connect with people. You are losing. So a lot of people have lost.
Rani KoHEnur
Yes.
sass. As much as I want to deep dive into the whole drag perspective, I feel
Yeah.
like that's its own world.
Yeah, that's for another episode.
That's for another episode. I think this one's just like a nice intro, to the
Yes.
TRS audience. And we have this thing called TRS All Stars, where we keep bringing back people to share some
Now
new
that,
perspectives.
I have already booked this seat. This is my seat.
Also
for
for
the
the-
All-Stars.
Also for the Hindi podcast.
Definitely.
Hindi podcast is where, definitely these episodes are going to make it international.
Right.
And it's going to be viewed for like 20 years. Hindi episodes will make that cultural impact and take India to the next level.
Yes, I
That's what-
always believe that regional and why do we feel ashamed? There's I know a lot of people हिंदी में नहीं देंगे हाँ इंटरव्यू हिंदी में नहीं करेंगे और तो हिंदी में फिल्म करती है हिंदी में फिल्म करना है तुमको हिंदी में इंटरव्यू नहीं देंगे. I don't understand this.
Yeah.
I will give in Hindi, Marathi, Gujarati, Konkani, English, Kannada, everything.
Yeah.
Why not?
Because of the British effect.
No, that to matlab I'm very my thing is that there are so many now Hindi or English is not the national language. There are so many languages under our under India that are recognized as you can use this language, that language in parliament. You can speak whatever language you want. according to where you come from. So I don't feel that we should be putting नहीं आप English में ही बात करो यार. I'd love to. हिंदी में तो बिल्कुल.
Yeah.
Why not?
Yeah, that's and the flavor of the Hindi, okay, the flavor of Hindi as a language is just different. And
It is.
and
It
this
is.
I transitioned from just doing English content to doing Hindi content as well. Speaking Hindi and creating content in Hindi are two different games because you have to write in Hindi as well. It opened me up to how poetic and romantic both Hindi and Urdu are.
Urdu is the best. I would like to say that Urdu is very pure. As a language, it's so soft. It's so beautiful. It's so nuanced. The nuances are so, oh my God.
Yeah.
And the intersectionality between Hindi and Urdu is also beautiful. Hindi, I think, is a little more curt. It's a little more direct. Like it's a little more like
functional.
It's functional, but at the same time, no, Urdu can be functional. It's just that we don't try hard enough. We're lazy.
Yeah, I think that's the big. So while Gen Z, especially urban Gen Z, is discovering so much about the world, look within India as well and see the poetic.
Of course, like I to keep saying, when people think that they say that you have an accent, because ये accent इसको accent नहीं बोलते, इसको clarity of speech बोलते हैं. आप ये interview सुनिए और मुझे बताइए in one place where you think you could not understand the word I said, and I will stop my career only. I will stop, but it's not an accent. I have a very strong Konkani accent. Okay, I have a very strong Marathi Konkani South Indian accent. That is an accent. That is an accent. That is an accent. That's an accent. But not this. This is clarity of speech. Isko thodi accent kehte hain. So there is a lot. Like culture is like very. It's well, I'd say that it's a pot that everything there's been everything in it, and I think people take what they want to take. They leave back what they want to leave back. But I just want to tell people that think that if a person doesn't speak in English, if वो हिंदी में अगर बात करते हैं, तो they are lesser than someone who speaks in English. ये तो बहुत ही गलत बात है. I think that this is just completely nonsense. You can speak whatever language you want. Now someone is comfortable speaking in Kannada or Tamil. Now for me, I might not be able to speak Tamil, but just because you can't speak in Hindi, just because you're South Indian, that doesn't make you less Indian, or that doesn't make you less this thing. ये पता नहीं कहाँ से आ जाता है. So my thing is Hindi is not even the second language. So for them, now that depends on state to state, and I think that if they've been given the right to speak in whatever language, suddenly then there will be like, I shouldn't say this, but certain sections of metropolitan cities. They suddenly develop an accent. अब पता नहीं वो मतलब शायद वो मतलब टर्मिनल 2 से जाते हुए उनको थोड़ी हवा लग गई और सडनली उनको एक्सेंट आ गया. मैंने कहा तुम मतलब तुम्हारा पोस्टल कोड कभी बदला नहीं है, पिन कोड कभी बदला नहीं, तुम्हारा एक्सेंट कहाँ से आता है? कहाँ से आया? तुमको हवा लगी है, टर्मिनल 2 की हवा लगी है, इंटरनेशनल एयरपोर्ट की हवा लगी है तुम्हें. I'm like, come back, just calm down. So I'm just
all insecurity. I mean, okay, let me take that again. All masks are kind of created because of insecurity in different forms.
I agree.
Again, I think that's going to be the next big change over the next 10 years. You're going to see a lot of top performers in media also who can't speak a word.
You see regional cinema. You
100%.
see on whether it's Netflix, OTT platforms, in films, you see so many fantastic scripts coming from regional cinema. Not, particularly English or Hindi. It comes from regional cinema,
It's change we're going through.
Yes.
Let's get to the section that's loved the most.
I'm very competitive. Am I winning anything? Can I take something from here?
For this episode, feel free to take anything you wish.
No, I'm just kidding. Yeah.
But let's get to the section.
I'll take one of these mugs.
I'll take. Please.
ये मैंने झूठा भी किया है ना.
No,
तो ये अब मेरा हो गया.
It's yours.
You know how in school used to be like you should lick it and अब ये मेरा है. इसको हाथ मत लगाना.
Take it. It's yours.
This is mine.
You don't know what kind of an impact this had on me. Not just about the stuff you've spoken. Again, as I said earlier, your confidence and just your grit rubbed off. So I was just, we were supposed to shoot at 3 and then you got held up somewhere. So I decided to. That's fine.
That's nice.
I mean, I'm the same. But I worked out with Sanjit, and I was nervous about something business related, and that the nervousness was kind of just boiling inside. It was simmering inside.
और उस दौरान ये हमें कहते हैं कि आप काम रहिए. You come in a calm space कहता है. खुद काम नहीं था बेचारा.
That's why I needed to be calm, Sushant. So
That's why I put me in the meditating room.
Yeah.
Meditation room में मुझे डाल दिया. And then he's too sweet. Yeah.
Just so okay, the honest answer, I mean, the honest thing that I was kind of nervous about was there is this one project we're working on that's getting launched soon. Project right now is fantastic. We're not too sure about where the long-term vision of the project is. And sometimes for some situations in your life, you don't necessarily need to have a long-term vision. You need to do your job really well.
Yeah.
And I'm confident in that.
I'm also confident that I don't even know what it is you've not shared, but I don't. But it's just
a new... It's a new...
Whatever it is, I'm sure you'll do well. Like before you started this, did you realize that today we'll be sitting together having this conversation? No, so then don't think about it. Now do your best every day and leave the rest. It's just that.
Yeah. It's so have you heard of this word called providence?
Yes.
It's something Luke KoHEnur taught me on this show.
Okay.
The energy of that episode was very similar to this, and I highly recommend that listeners put that.
I'm a big fan of Luke.
Oh my God, what a man!
What a man!
He's some people, and I feel the same about you after speaking to you at this level. Some people are just born with blessings in their voice box. They just know what
Luke's voice.
Yeah.
Okay. Anyway, yeah.
No, it's not just the voice. It's also the words.
I think it comes from again this journey.
Yeah.
His journey. And that's so beautiful, to kind of learn from somebody else's journey. I think every day we learn something new. Today I learned something new from you. Tomorrow you might learn something from me. I might learn something from him. I might learn something from people watching.
Yeah. On a personal level, I've picked up so much from this episode.
Yeah.
That whole self-actualization conversation.
See, I didn't even expect to say it. I didn't expect this to become a lecture,
No, I mean, not just the meaning of it, but it helped my process of self-actualization.
Yeah.
The one I'll tell you this after the Twitter section. Otherwise, we're never gonna start.
Yeah. We'll keep talking, and then my mother's gonna be like, "Listen, kidhar hai?"
Okay. Here's the Twitterverse section.
Yeah.
So these are feel free to answer them fast or kind of, again, make it conversational.
Yeah.
Manish Pandya, joined to Manish, asks, what are things that Indian workplaces must learn for better inclusion?
I think first they must include queer people in policy making. They need to make better policies.
360-degree perspective.
Yes. Also because I'm an industrial psychologist. So if my specialization was in industry, workplace behavior, organizational psychology, that's me.
Got it.
So I'm speaking from that angle right now. I think we need to make better policies which are inclusive. And first you have to start being inclusive and then diversify.
Okay.
First you have to be accepting of people. When somebody sits across the table giving you an interview for their first interview, don't judge them by what they're wearing or what. See their qualifications first. I might be the most qualified. I might be more qualified than my boss for that job, but I really need it. And I'm willing to work hard for it. That for me, that for the selector has to be the only parameter to judge the person. Not what has he worn, is he or she, they, what are they, kya gender kya hai, kahan pe tick mara hai. All that first of all. Second, when you have queer employees, have gender neutral toilets. Start there. Okay? Don't assign gender to workspaces.
Wow. Yeah.
Because your work in an organization, the end goal for every employee is the same. If you put all these roadblocks, what you're doing is you are blocking not only them, but yourself and the entire organization from attaining that goal. So it's very important to realize that we have to have gender neutrality. There has to be an equal playing ground, as I mentioned earlier, for every employee, regardless. वो कहाँ से आए हैं, क्या करके आए हैं, वो अब हैं ना यहाँ पर, अब हैं, तो उनका ख्याल रखना. And you have to be very, very compassionate at workplace. Because at the end of the day, it's a group. Your end goal is the same. Always remember. You might have personal grudges, leave it outside and then enter.
Yeah. Wow. Okay, the next one is from a dear friend of mine. He's one of the top CEOs in the country, Ashok Ramachandran, sir, CEO of Schindler. Um, he asks, what's the one thing we all do, but we shouldn't be doing when we're trying to help the LGBTQ community?
I think don't feel bad for us. We don't need sympathy. We need empathy.
Explain this a little deeper.
Sympathy is when you feel bad for someone. Empathy is when you kind of put yourself in somebody else's shoes and understand that if I was in their place, would I have liked this? So if I look down on you and say poor thing all the time, you'll be like, what poor thing? Why poor thing? Why? You're feeling
You
bad
sense
for...
that today also?
Yeah, of course. Absolutely. So that whole idea of putting yourself on a pedestal and saying we'll accept you is already you putting yourself on a pedestal and saying, Acha, tum hamare niche ho, we'll accept you. We'll respect you. Accept and respect are two very different things. Respect people.
Yeah, we spoke about that whole Ardhanareshwar story.
Yeah.
The actual basis of that isn't that, oh, you respect genders or whatever. The base of that is you see humans in the same way.
Yes.
Everyone's the same ball of light.
Exactly. And I'm not saying paint everybody with the same brush,
Yeah.
but I'm saying what I'm just adding to what
Yeah.
you're saying is that some people might misconstrue it as, no, but you don't know our struggles are different. No, everyone has struggles. I'm not saying my struggles are bigger than yours or their struggles are bigger than mine. Struggles are struggles. Abhi usme bhi tum class mat lagao. Struggles are struggles for everyone.
Yeah.
But when somebody like who's privileged, today I can speak this fluently. It's not because I could have chosen to be like, I could have been on the street. You never know. If my parents were not accepting, I had to leave my house. I don't know where I would have been.
Yeah.
I would have been in the trains. I would have been on the, the platforms. I would have been on the signals. I might have been wherever. And all of this talent would have gone for a waste.
Yeah.
So I want people to understand that if when people go through this, take a chance on them.
Yeah.
Give them a chance and you take a chance on them.
Yeah.
Because they might be the next Lakshmi Narayan Tripathi.
Yeah.
They might be the next Durga Gaude. They might be the next Sushant Divgikar. They might be the next them. They might be themselves that you will never be able to tap into.
Yeah.
So don't feel bad for them, but actually walk the talk. And when people say diversity and when people say, equality and equity, I don't see it happening as much. So I think as allies, what ally means is basically when you are not LGBT, when you are heterosexual, cisgender heterosexual, and you support LGBT rights, that makes you an ally. So now in the past couple of years, LGBTQIA, that A stands for asexual, but A also stands for ally. So when we say LGBTQIA plus community, it also includes you, everyone, me, you, everyone, because it is a very humane approach to inclusivity. And I think that's the way forward.
I see it changing again.
Yeah. I also see it changing at a very slow pace, but I think there is at least some change.
Yeah.
I can't deny that.
We need it in films. We need it in music.
Oh, we need it everywhere.
Yeah.
Everywhere.
Vavo Digital asks, what's your response if someone cracks a homophobic joke around you?
I don't laugh. Yeah, I'm like, not funny. Not okay to appropriate. Not okay to, because it's then showing your lack of knowledge and lack of empathy, but also lack of willing to change. I'm not going to demean you. I'm not going to, degrade you or whatever. I can choose to do that. But then that makes me no less shallow than you.
Yeah. Yeah.
Then we are on the same level. It's like that. So I give you the benefit of doubt that maybe you'll learn. One day you'll educate yourself. Abhi mujhe koi gali de raha hai, to if I again go and abuse them, my thing is now I've come to earlier I used to. When I was younger, I was a very tempestuous, very fiery, feisty kid, feisty teenager, feisty early 20s, everything, mid 20s. After that, it just changed. I said, you have to understand that their journey is not your journey. I have probably lived under many a moons, just worrying about what will people say when I wake up tomorrow. They've not lived that journey. Till they kind of understand that, that they empathize, till someone around them, it will happen. You are not going to make it happen. It's not your job. That's not your job. Your job is to empathize. Now, if you want empathy, you must give it also.
Yeah.
That for me is, I think now I've kind of risen to that.
Yeah.
I'm like, not funny.
And when someone rises to the consciousness that you've risen to, that's when you can make an even stronger point.
Yeah,
So
I think.
like while people are fiery, I've also gone through a parallel phase of being fiery and then calming down.
Yeah,
I've
yeah.
just seen that when you let go of the fire, you stop burning yourself as well.
True.
And from a calmer place, you're able to make a clearer point.
Exactly. Why are you homophobic? First of all, homophobia. It's not a phobia. It's you being
Yeah.
It's you being disrespectful, ignorant, and you have not studied anything
Yeah.
about people, human beings.
Yeah.
It's not homophobia. What is phobia? It's a fear. It's an irrational fear. Phobia means irrational fear. Until you kind of actually sit across the table and face it.
Yeah.
Or you can choose to not face it and say that, okay, fine, I have a preconceived set of notions about a community like this. What is homophobia? It's not homophobia. You're not being phobic. You're being
Yeah.
you know
Yeah, I know what you mean. I know what you mean.
बड़े आए हमसे हमको क्या तुम हमसे क्या डरोगे हमको तो तुमसे डरना चाहिए. My thing is that if I had to sit here and generalize all men, saying that all men are rapists, is that fair? Is that fair? Me saying that you're a rapist, this one's a rapist, that one's a rapist. Then how you can think that all gay men are like going to pounce on you, or how trans people are going to just clap on your face and this, do all this, be disrespectful. What are you thinking in your head?
Yeah.
आप अपने आप को empathy कहाँ पे आपकी? Why can't you put yourself in that position? And if I had to judge you for being a man, how would you feel? Now my father is a man, my brother is a man, my friends are men, my cousins are men, uncles are men, neighbors are men. Should I say that all men are rapists? Does that make sense? So all gay people are not the same. All transgender people are not the same. And even if they are, how you can generalize and say that, till you see a white crow, you will believe that all crows are black. Right? So when you've not seen enough, how can you come to a conclusion and say all gay people are like this?
Yeah. Yeah. Again, what do you do in the present? You put words out there. You put context out there. Okay. Ashish Kumar asks, so his question is, how do you feel when others can't feel you? But my question to you is, do you feel that still? Do you feel a certain sense of being not understood even now?
Yeah. And I think that that's not my battle to fight anymore.
Can you try explaining just some sort of perspective where you've not felt understood?
Yeah, like I think that a lot of people don't understand there is a difference between gender and orientation. First of all, orientation is your sexual orientation or your affectionate orientation, where you are attracted to either the same gender, same sex, or the opposite sex. Gender is what you're born with or what you identify as in the journey of your life. Okay, so I might be male assigned at birth. That might be my gender at birth. That doesn't mean it cannot change, because I will realize later that I'm transgender. People are not all the time born transgender. That's another thing. Okay.
Like as you grow and as experiences.
Exactly. Okay. Experiences is what kind of teaches you that you have been boxed. Just because there are heteronormative boxes, you don't have to be in that box.
Got it.
Therefore, there is trans people, there are non-binary people. They are like, but we are not male, we are not female, or we are both, or we are neither. What about us? Are we not humans? But we are still existing, we're still breathing the same air. We are not drinking transgender coffee. We are drinking the same coffee as you. So it's just it's a matter of, this is also a reality. You don't have to sensationalize it. Normalize it. ये देखो ये कोई transgender आया. Transgender आई. He's gay. Do you walk into the room and say, hi, I'm Ranveer and I'm straight? Have you ever introduced yourself as that? Why are we looked at like that when we enter a room? He's gay or what? Maybe not. Who cares?
Yeah.
Is that the only characteristic that you notice about me? Then that's your lens that needs to change. Not me. I'm fabulous.
Yeah.
Honey. That's your perspective. That's your ignorance that's talking. And you'll change. I hope and pray.
No. World's becoming a better place.
Yeah.
World's becoming a better
Yeah.
place. Okay, Rani KoHEnur.
Mm.
And the final question of our Twitterverse section.
Final question has come.
It's an endearing question though.
Okay.
And this should be out there for sure. How can one support friends, family members, or anybody who comes to us for help or to confess something about how they're feeling on the inside? What is the best way to be a super friend and a great support system? The question is from at YadavJoy44.
That's a very sweet question. I just like to say that if somebody confides in you, that means they respect you. They mean that they think that you mean something to them in their life. So the fact that they're coming to confide in you is a very big thing about something so monumental about their life,
Yeah.
about their being. Imagine how much power you have as a friend or as an ally or as somebody who's close to that person to just give them a hug and say, it's fine. It's okay. It doesn't change anything.
Yeah.
Your orientation, your gender, your sexuality, your caste, color, creed, it doesn't matter to me. I love the person you are. I love the person you have become. I love the fact that you confided in me. That's the best way of just accepting yourself at a place where you can say that there are no conditions in this friendship. There are no conditions in this love. There's no condition in this relationship. And I think that is the epitome of being a great ally. When you don't judge anybody for anything.
Sushant. Oh my God, this was a heavy episode in such a beautiful way, though. It was heavy
Yeah.
with beauty. Something that you didn't highlight that I would love to highlight about you, something you told me in the other room, which is that you are trying to do work for the queer community in
Yeah.
general, especially those who are not as fortunate, those who do not have the access to the privilege you do. Of course, we'll be linking all your handles down below, and I'm sure you're going to get a lot of people writing into you after this episode. Maybe through your lifetime you'll be able to help 1,000 people, and there'll be that one person you may not be able to reach out to.
Yes.
And for that one person, I've got to ask you one last question.
Please.
I know that your parents were a massive support system in your life, and your family was a massive support system in your life, and everything that you're doing right now is a reflection of them onto
Yes.
society. You're like,
Yes.
I had this, let me give this forward to like someone
Yeah.
else.
Yeah.
So can you take me back to one moment that just kind of protected you, was an armor for you from childhood, growing up, or whatever, that you'd like to pass on to that one person who will never get a chance to talk to you?
I just want to say that my mother very beautifully put it the other day. She was like, my niece is, I believe that she's the reincarnation of my grandmother. Okay. She also talks like that, but she's 9 and she's like the love of my life. She's like the joy in my life. And my mother says, see how beautifully the universe works. You always wanted a daughter, and here she is. So for me, because my mother says that motherhood is not biological, it's not the act of giving birth. Motherhood is an emotion. Motherhood is a behavior, and anyone can be a mother.
Anyone holds mamta.
Yeah. And I have that only because I received it from my mother. And I received that beautiful message from my mother. She received it from hers. And if I didn't have my mother by my side, I wouldn't have been able to give the love to my cousins, my juniors, younger queer people, and I'm not like sound. I don't mean to sound patronizing. I just want to say that all of us has that mamta. There is in some मात्राओं में है, in some, okay, ठीक है, the dimension is like it's like a complete like this much dimension, so you might have this much or that much to give, but everybody, I believe, that has something to give to the next person. You have to find out how much you can give, how much you can expend, and how much you can keep for yourself also to protect yourself. It's very important, but you're not being selfish. But I just believe that because I've got so much love to give, then I have to do that. And that's why I have so many queer children. Because they don't receive the love from their parents. They look up to me for that love. And I'd be damned if I don't give it to them because I have so much of it. So what am I going to do? Itna leke kahan jayenge? To baato.
Yeah.
And what is there to just like hold somebody's hand and say, you're not alone. You're not alone. You're not alone in this fight. Don't ever think like that. You've been given this beautiful gift of life. Just live it. Feel it. Forget everybody that's like, saying all these nasty things about you. Yes, that good things might not have happened to you, but that's a journey. And that's your journey. You write it. If you can just say this to someone and change their life, why not?
Paying it forward is the purpose of human
Yeah,
life.
yeah. For me, though, absolutely. Like, and that's why I'm like coming out with House of KoHEnur also. House of KoHEnur basically for right now has my queer children, my drag children. Durga is there. There's Glorious Luna. There's 17. Then they're from all parts of the country. And now we're kind of trying to build this sort of a vertical where we train other queer kids that don't have the support of their families. And once that's up, then I'm going to tell you about it. And then we can kind of work together because I see such lovely work you're doing for people, for kids from all over that want to come and, explore themselves. And I think that's what I want to do. Like, just because you're thrown away from your house, doesn't mean you don't deserve a home.
Yeah.
And a house is a house, but you and I make it a home.
Yeah.
So if I can do that for somebody, why not?
Sushant Divgikar, you're a special soul. And I don't do this on every episode, but I'm going to pay it forward to you. Sit. Just thank you for everything that you did on this episode. And you know you're going to be back.
I am. All
So-
stars. Now this is where you zoom in.
Thank you for being on TRS once again.
Thank you.
Appreciate it from
Thank
the
you so
bottom of my heart,
Thank you.
and just happy to be a part of your story and your journey.
And I'm so happy to be part of your journey. Small part, but yeah. Taking the manga.
Yeah, it's
Just
yours.
really
Take,
letting
take
you know.
whatever
You should
you
not feel
wish.
it's robbed.
No, this
It's
is
on
like
camera also.
you're paying it forward to us by doing it. Thank you. Thank you,
Thank you.
Sushant. If you've listened to this episode till this point, you'll know what a power-packed conversation that was. It left me feeling more confident, more positive, of course, more empathetic towards all human beings. That's the core of this episode, that we're all the same on the inside. We've all got battles that we're fighting. And sometimes some of your greatest fires can be derived from hearing other people's stories. I feel like I'm a confident, positive person, but there's days where I feel low. And that's why meeting people like Sushant can really take your mindset to that next level. Definitely share this episode with your friends. Remember, as Sushant said, mindsets will change through culture and content, and you folks, the consumers of this kind of content. Thank you for listening to TRS till this point. Follow us on Spotify. We're a Spotify exclusive. Every episode of TRS is available on Spotify 48 hours before it's available anywhere else. And we'll be back on TRS soon. Power pack conversations. And honestly, on a personal note, I always think that how we're going to top this conversation and another huge conversation like the one we had with Sushant just walk straight into my life. It's all a matter of providence. It's a blessed team. It's a blessed team. It's a blessed team. Follow us on Spotify. The Ranveer Show. Spotify exclusive.